might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space with the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back.
I hope that song has put you in a better mood. Finally, the journey is over. A whole lot of auditions, readings, and perhaps screen tests. You have been cast, and it is a speaking role. If it is a major role, good on you. The following steps should be considered in breaking down a script. It must happen before you even consider learning your lines. They are not things that should be on your mind while you are acting. This is the preparatory stage. As you can see in the sample, the picture shows you that this person is trying to break down that script. There is a key on the left. It shows that yellow is for location, green is for time, blue is for character name, orange, architectural elements, purple, the props, and underline, stage direction. When you can do this, it becomes a lot easier for you to pick these things up. The first time you pick a script to read, you must read it like the audience. You should never act it out. The reason is that when you read it again, you will be reading as an actor. This means you will read just more than your lines. You must read the story, understand the context, and not make the mistake of trying to read your lines alone. So this will only make you lose out on the entire picture the script is painting. You must not try to memorize your lines at this point or try to say them how you think they should be said. Read the script solely for the story. When you have finished, read it again. And depending on what role you are playing, read it again. At this point, you will begin to ask the most important questions before you learn your lines and the dialogue. Stanislavski said, "In life, feelings are in search of words. On stage, words are in search of feelings." William Butler Yeats also said, "What attracts me to drama is that it is, in the most obvious way, what all the arts are upon a last analysis. A farce and a tragedy are like in this, that they are a moment of intense life. An action is taken out of all other actions. It is reduced to its simplest form, or at any rate to as simple a form as it can be brought to without our losing the sense of its place in the world. The characters that are involved in it are freed from everything that is not a part of that action. Please, I beg of you, study the texts. Your scenes, your monologues, go back and read again. One of the biggest problems with actors is they never understand the text. The upcomers, the older ones, the new ones, and bad actors too. Anyone can make that mistake. You need to understand the text. Acting is very practical business. So stage business, you ask yourself, what is stage business? Stage business is what an actor does in a scene while saying his lines. Do you just stand there? What do you do? The secret is an application of acting theory. Your actual understanding of text, yourself, and theory will give you the performance. Understanding isn't enough in acting. You have to understand, to know, to feel, to move, to communicate all the above. One of the major problems in acting classes is the gap between understanding and doing. That's why actors need training. The ability to perform regardless of your personal mood, today, any day, the situation on stage, the show must go on. And with the public, you are dead to them. So the show is a self-contained entity with an open structure. The audience gives the new energy, fear, to the actor, but the actor only acts for himself. There are many floors or layers in acting. What we see is the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg rather, and that's the performance. Stanislavski calls it actor prepares. It takes a lifetime to be a good actor. The learning never ends. When this has been achieved and you have your lines down, you will simply react truthfully to the imaginary circumstances in the scene, which to your character is real. To achieve this, you must create the imaginary circumstances entirely. On the image, you can see there are certain lines that have been highlighted. There's a word there, V-A-L-E-T. The sentence is, or rather the line is, you are only the V-A-L-E-T, a servant, same as me, same as Mrs. Staunton for that matter. If you do not know what a V-A-L-E-T means, you will lose the context in which he was speaking. If you do not know how to pronounce the word, you will lose the context again. The word is pronounced valet. Valet. You would have to get a dictionary to look up that word. And then, when you come to the bottom, you'd find, well, what's the matter? What are you doing here? And you see that the person has written ad lib, startled sound. So it means before you say that line, he goes, well, what's the matter? That's a startled sound. And then meekly frightened. Nothing, sir, nothing. These are the little things you need to know while learning the dialogue. What is my objective? What does my character want in 4 or 5 words? Sometimes it could be less. In most cases, an objective is what a character wants. Some say, what is the character fighting for? It is okay to state when asked, my objective is to get rich. That is simple. It is better to choose an effective objective and go after it. If you cannot do this, you will be without purpose or drive. When and if you choose the right purpose, the strength of creativity comes to the surface. You must try to make active, passionate choices about what the character feels, speaks, thinks, and does to attain their objective. This is where it begins. Your objective tells you how to act. So grab it and run. Do not be afraid to explore it. Rather, be open-minded and seek it. A need is stronger than a want and is usually the stronger choice because it creates more drive for an actor. Every scene has an objective. This is best formatted for the actor as what you want to get from the other person in the scene. For example, I need you to worship me. I need you to love me. I need you to give me my power back. I desire validation. If acting is like cooking, I think it is, then picking your objective is like deciding what to cook. A chef might walk into a market knowing he's going to prepare a heart-warming meal. In the market, there are so many ingredients to pick from to create the dish, but he still has to cook anyway. So, if two chefs decide they want to create this meal and they are put in the same kitchen, we will have two great meals but different components as long as they both can cook. Two actors will approach a role differently, and in truth, they might be both very good. Jamie Oliver, the chef, likes rustic meals, while Heston Blumenthal, another chef, prefers scientific methods to achieve his. So the question is, what do I want to cook? How do I want to cook it? Most actors overthink their objectives and overlook what the character really wants. It is best to go for the simple objective, and with the help of dialogue, it will be achieved. Your character's objective can be found by asking questions, and if it is not that obvious, You can ask, what do I want from the person I am speaking to? With these questions asked, the answer more often than not presents itself towards the end of the scene. Then the next question surfaces: what is in my way? The obstacle is what is in your way of achieving your objective. Popular belief is that an obstacle is what you need to see as the enemy. Wrong. Obstacles are your friend too. They make you an interesting character to watch. If an actor makes his obstacles seem small, he achieves his objectives and it looks as though he did not work hard for it. For example, if you had to swim in a river to get to safety and there was a log of wood in it, that would be easy to swim with. In fact, it could be used as a floater. Whereas, if the obstacle was a cannibal or a wild animal, it will make for greater watching pleasure. As an actor, which would you rather? In a scene, imagine that you are going through a breakup and your partner decides they want out. Would you let them walk out because you hate them? Imagine how powerful your performance would be if you let them see how much you love them and how hurt and broken you would be if they left, no matter how hard it was for them to accept, considering the fact that they cheated on you. Which do you think would make for greater viewing? Which do you think will elicit more empathy? This is where the power of a performance comes through. What happens if you do not find your objective? I personally use this as a solution when I am working. I raise the stakes. Do not make the mistake of minimizing your stakes. For example, if your objective is, I want to convince my partner to stay with me, you might say your stakes are, if I don't convince him or her, I will be lonely for the rest of my life. A better choice would be, if I don't convince him or her, I will never know happiness. I will die. When you raise the stakes, you will try much harder to achieve your objective in the scene. Rather than looking sad, you might lie on the ground, oblivious to your environment, and beg them with everything you have got. If your stakes are higher, you won't be overacting. It would be a natural reaction to a cause. And if eventually they do walk out, you won't be forced to trigger sadness. Sadness will become you because, in truth, you are sad and you were doing something. Bridge the gap. This is the time to look at your lines and ask yourself this question. When I say my lines, what can I do to try and achieve my objective? Personally, I always have two things prepared for a scene, and this is my recommendation. Have two things prepared and see if you can have them in the scene. In the example I gave, laying on the ground could be considered doing something to achieve your objective. But you could also look intimidating, or you could cry, or perhaps a smile. Sometimes it could even be the way the line is said. You could be yelling, threatening, or even very sweetly. Even the look is seen as doing something. If you remember that acting is doing, to do, then you will make something out of your situation rather than just reciting the lines. Bear in mind that having two things does not mean you are bound to do them. The other actor might say their lines differently, and you will have to react. And that is acting. Remember, you are just preparing, not planning. Always watch and listen to the other actor so your reaction is natural. In the moment, laying on the ground might not work, and all that would be needed could be a flicker of hope in your eyes, or maybe a smile. Sometimes, after your preparation, you choose another way because in the moment, something else felt better. Would you walk into a shop and buy a shirt for a job interview and keep it in your wardrobe until the day you had to wear it without trying it on first? I doubt that. You will want to see how well it fits, and if there needs to be a change, you'll do so before the interview date. An actor who does not rehearse is bound for failure. Some claim it takes away spontaneity. That's rubbish. There's only one way to know if your objective is active or if your stakes are high enough. Try it out. Rehearse out loud. If it works, you will feel it and you will know. If it does not, you will know and you go back to the top and begin. Then again, what if the shirt fits but you do not like the style because it's not appropriate for a lawyer? So this means you need to find the right shirt. The best question to ask at this point is my objective active? Can it be played? Will the dialogue allow me to go after it? I'll give you another example. In Mr. and Mrs., Susan Abba's objective could be that she wanted to keep her husband. She certainly demonstrates this all through the movie, but that really does not mean it was her objective. This is where actors go astray. Your objective is not what you do, it is what you want. Mrs. Abba's objective could have been she wanted to be a professional again. In every scene, She tried to find an obstacle, and as she found them, she found ways to tackle them. The obstacle makes for fine acting. It draws your audience in. It is also where you get to be creative as an actor. There are many ways to get to your obstacle, and it is unique to every actor. It is your moment to shine, so please go ahead. When you are dealing with it truthfully, it is believable and it can never be too big for the camera, as directors would say. Do not put in all your energy in memorizing lines when you truly do not understand or know why you are saying them. When you memorize your lines too soon, you lose out on the important questions you should ask. If you have answered the 4 questions, then you can learn your lines and, yes, be on the way to great acting. I have some exercises, or I've given Bright some exercises for you, so I hope you enjoy doing them.